word then on the subject of endings. I didn't realise it until recently, but I've been really missing games with decent endings. I am nothing if not an appreciator of stories, and a story without an ending isn't a story at all. It's a setting at most. When was the last time I finished a game and sat back with a feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment from a well-told tale? Because the standard patterns of most games I've played lately have precluded that experience. First of all, there's your open-world games that rarely end completely or decisively because they have to contrive a way for the player to jump straight back into the world to finish off the side quests. So all the criminal gangs are still active despite you having defeated their entire command structure, and you're left with no closure, forced to wonder if all your hard work has even achieved anything. Similar thing happens with live services, life sims, and roguelikes, and anything else you're generally expected to keep playing infinitely for the sake of 100% completion, because you don't usually get another better ending the moment you complete the checklist. Your time with the game ends on an anticlimactic note, with you dusting off your hands and going, well, that's everything, what shall I waste my time with next? Otherwise, you have cases like the monster-length single-player narrative games Sony likes so much, your God of War Ragnarok and your Last of Us 2, which are so unnecessarily drawn out, I don't feel satisfied even if I do get to the end, because by that point I'm mostly just feeling exhausted and resentful at having used up my entire supply of yogurt-dipped muesli bars to keep my interest in the world alive. I feel like, in theory, I want to champion video games finding new ways to explore the concept of narrative and breaking free of old rigid notions like linearity and beginning, middle, end, but at the same time I hadn't realised how much I was missing that feeling of walking away after a good, satisfying, earned ending. Until recently, when I played American Arcadia, a narrative indie game by Spanish developer Out of the Blue Games, which wasn't amazing, but did have an incredibly good story ending. It must have been good because before the ending I wasn't sure I was liking the game overall, and afterwards it proceeded to live rent-free in my head for weeks. It's making me antsy because I really want to talk someone's ear off about it, but I can't without spoiling it, so with that in mind, spoiler warning for the rest of the video. Look, it's not a long game and it's only $20 at time of writing, consider this a recommendation. Just pause the video and quickly go buy it and play through it so we can start having a conversation. I'll just wait here. Oh hey, you're back. Yeah, that end credits theme is a bit of a banger, isn't it? I've listened to that on YouTube a few times. So, American Arcadia is about Trevor Hills, an awkward introverted office drone who discovers that he is unwittingly a character in a corporate-run reality show set in an enclosed dome city, and sets out to escape to the outside world. So yeah, it's the Truman Show. Except with an additional twist at the very end, with the reveal that even Trevor's escape attempt was orchestrated by the showrunners from the beginning, as a publicity stunt intended to launch a new spin-off show centered around characters escaping from Arcadia. But that wasn't the part that made the ending for me. What did is that I thought I knew what was going to happen next. I thought the game was going to end with one of those ending Tron 3000 situations where you make one final decision that branches things off to multiple endings. A practice I've never been fond of because it undermines the impact of an ending to know it can be reversed with a reload of the last save, but that seemed to be the way things were going, because at the end, Trevor is led towards a press conference and informed that he has two choices. He can sell out, toe the corporate line, defuse the potential PR disaster and accept a fat sack of cash, or he can pursue a futile struggle to bring down an all-powerful corporation with extremely good lawyers purely for ideology's sake. I thought, as Trevor walked up to the mic, that two buttons were about to appear, asking us to decide between those two equally bad options. And instead of that, after a brief pause, he shoves his finger in the camera lens and yells, "Leave me the fuck alone!" Smash cut to credits, throughout which newspaper headlines and other artifacts appear, hinting at where things went after that. Trevor retires to a quiet life away from the spotlight, refusing all interviews, and the show continues without him, more popular than ever before, continuing to dodge all consequence. It's a layered ending that's simultaneously up and downbeat. With his final obscenity, Trevor takes a third option, the only one that could be said to be a victory for him. He disengages. He walks away, diffusing all of the power the corporation has over him. We learn a lot about Trevor in the course of the game. We learn he's not actually boring, he's got a complex inner world, he's a talented musician, he'd just rather live in peace and quiet and doesn't feel the need to show it off. In the end, he gets the peaceful life he wanted, and in doing so makes himself an even bigger icon than he would ever have been otherwise. One detail I found particularly interesting is that the show starts selling branded "Leave me the fuck alone" merchandise with his face on. It was satisfying to think of the corporation being left in Trevor's dust, having to grit its teeth and attempt to milk profit from its own humiliation, forever chasing the shadow of its most popular character after he nopes out. But it's also a downbeat ending because outside of Trevor's personal situation, nothing changes. Arcadia and the TV show remain more popular than ever, power, with most of the residents still imprisoned, oblivious, and living at the whims of their controllers. No regulations get imposed by authorities, and no one faces any punishment, because as it turns out, there's nobody to punish. All the individuals involved in setting up Arcadia are long dead. The current director is revealed to be a one-time escapee from the city who begs to be let back in. They don't control Arcadia, they're just another product of it. The true villain of American Arcadia is a vast conceptual corporate entity, driven by committees and algorithms, with nothing resembling a human decision-maker at the helm, callously exploiting the imprisoned residents not out of malice, but the pure animalistic drive to self-sustain. You could jail the entire board of directors and it'd just keep going, with new faceless suits in charge. The only actual people left to blame, as the show director points out in her final monologue, is the audience who keep watching and making it profitable. And that being the case, Trevor's final act of piecing out gives him a last laugh of a sort. He makes himself the audience's most beloved character and then denies them any more of him, leaving them eternally hankering for one more curtain call while he disappears to become a living embodiment of the phrase, "to live well is the best revenge." Perhaps solace is to be taken from the fact that the show's organisers are ultimately doomed by the inevitable crash and burn that comes from the pursuit of infinite growth, and it's only a matter of time before ratings slip again and the directors start throwing each other under the bus. As I say, it's a story I really wanted to talk someone's ear off about, so thanks for indulging me. Actually, now I've laid it all bare, maybe there's something about a bespectacled dude breaking free of an emotionless corporate machine that particularly resonates with me, personally, in the last month or so. The point is, sometimes a truly great ending can make or break the effect a story can have on you. Ain't no one personally resonating with the experience of grinding up 47 leftover optimal treasure hunt missions, unless their entire family was murdered by a deranged quantity surveyor.